Know yourself. Know your market. Sun Tzu wrote, "If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles." This is one of the most famous lines from The Art of War, and for good reason. It is the heart of strategy. More than 2,500 years ago, Sun Tzu emphasized that true victory comes not from luck nor from reckless courage, but from knowledge. The general who understands both his own strengths and the strengths of his opponent will prevail, again and again. In today's business world, this wisdom is more relevant than ever. Your enemy may not be a literal army. It is the competitor across the street, the disruptive startup in your industry, or even your own internal blind spots. To succeed, you must master two forms of knowledge: deep self-awareness of your own business, and sharp intelligence about the market and your rivals. Today, let's explore how this ancient principle can help you build a stronger business, make smarter decisions, and achieve sustainable success. Knowing yourself. Sun Tzu warned that those who do not know themselves are doomed to stumble, even if their enemy is weak. In business, many companies fail because they never took the time to define their core strengths, weaknesses, and unique identity. Self-awareness in business means asking, 1. What is our true competitive advantage? 2. What value do we provide that no one else can? 3. Where are we vulnerable? 4. What resources do we lack? Consider Nokia. At one time, Nokia dominated the global mobile phone market, but the company failed to recognize its own limitations and strengths in a changing digital era. It believed its brand dominance would last forever, but ignored the fact that it lacked a strong software ecosystem. Apple and Google, meanwhile, leveraged their own strengths. Apple with design and integration, Google with data and software, to take the lead. Nokia's lack of self-awareness became its downfall. On the other hand, companies that understand themselves deeply can thrive even against bigger rivals. Southwest Airlines knew it was not going to beat legacy carriers in luxury or international routes, but it recognized its strength in simplicity, low cost, and fast turnaround. By sticking to that self-knowledge, it built a highly profitable and sustainable model. In short, know yourself. Know your business model, your culture, your resources, and your limits. Knowing the market. The second half of Sun Tzu's wisdom is about knowing the enemy. In business, the enemy is not necessarily your competitor, but the larger market landscape in which you operate. This includes 1. Direct competitors, companies offering similar products. 2. Indirect competitors, alternatives, customers may choose instead. 3. Trends and shifts, changes in technology, consumer behavior, and regulation. Blockbuster is the classic example of failing to understand the enemy. The company saw Netflix as a niche player, not as a serious threat. By the time Blockbuster realized what was happening, Netflix had already built a streaming model that eliminated the very battlefield of physical rentals. Blockbuster knew itself as a strong retail brand, but failed to recognize the enemy's evolving strength. Contrast this with Netflix itself. Netflix watched the market carefully. It saw the rise of broadband internet and recognized that streaming would eventually replace DVDs. It also studied its own data, understanding customer preferences better than anyone else. Knowing itself and the market, it pivoted early, investing in streaming before rivals could catch up. The dangers of ignorance. Sun Tzu described 3 outcomes based on knowledge. 1. Know yourself and know the enemy. Victory every time. 2. Know yourself but not the enemy. Half the time you win, half the time you lose. 3. Know neither yourself nor the enemy. Defeat in every battle. This framework applies perfectly to business. When companies know only themselves, they often misjudge the market. For instance, Kodak knew it was the leader in film, but it failed to study the digital photography trend. It assumed its market dominance was unshakable. In reality, the battlefield was shifting beneath its feet. When companies know only the enemy but not themselves, they copy competitors without understanding their own capabilities. Many small startups chase whatever the big players are doing, burning resources to mimic products without a foundation of strength. This often ends in failure because imitation is not strategy. The worst case is ignorance on both sides. Businesses without self-awareness and without market intelligence are like armies charging blindly into battle. Their defeat is only a matter of time. Tools for self-knowledge in business. How can modern leaders apply Sun Tzu's principle of self-knowledge? 1. SWOT analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This simple framework forces you to evaluate your company honestly. 2. Core competency mapping. Ask, what can we do that competitors cannot easily replicate? Is it technology, culture, speed, or relationships? 3. Financial awareness. Many businesses fail because leaders are unaware of their financial health. Know your margins, cash flow, and cost structure intimately. 4. Customer understanding. Know how your customers truly perceive you. Customer feedback, surveys, and direct conversations reveal blind spots. 5. Cultural awareness. What is the DNA of your company? For example, Zappos thrived because it knew its culture of customer service was its strongest differentiator. Tools for market knowledge. Understanding the enemy, or the market, requires constant vigilance. 1. Competitive intelligence. Study your rivals. What are they doing well? Where are they weak? What is their customer base? 2. Trend analysis. Track changes in technology, consumer behavior, and global economics. Tesla succeeded because it anticipated the electric vehicle trend earlier than traditional automakers. 3. Scenario planning. Imagine different futures. How would your business adapt if regulations changed, or if new technology disrupted the industry? 4. Benchmarking. Compare your performance metrics with industry leaders. Where do you stand? 5. Customer intelligence study. What alternatives your customers have. Are you truly their best choice, or are you vulnerable to substitutes? Case study. Amazon. Amazon is one of the clearest modern examples of applying Sun Tzu's wisdom. Amazon knows itself. It understands its strengths in logistics, customer obsession, and scale. It knows its weaknesses too, such as thin profit margins in certain areas. But it compensates by focusing on long-term dominance rather than short-term profit. At the same time, Amazon constantly studies the market. It watches competitors closely, adapts to consumer trends, and even studies potential disruptors. That is why Amazon can move from books to cloud computing, to entertainment, to groceries, always staying a step ahead. Amazon wins again and again because it knows itself and knows the market. Case study. Tesla. Tesla knew itself. It understood its unique strengths in innovation, vision, and branding around sustainability. It also knew that it lacked the scale and resources of traditional automakers. Rather than fight directly on production volume, it focused first on luxury electric cars for a niche market. At the same time, Tesla studied the market. It knew environmental concerns and energy policy would eventually shift consumer demand. It saw where incumbents were weak, slow to innovate, burdened by legacy systems, and used that knowledge to create a new battlefield. Tesla is not perfect, but it illustrates how self-awareness combined with market knowledge creates opportunities that others cannot see. Applying this in your business. So how can you, as a leader, entrepreneur, or professional, apply this wisdom? 1. Conduct honest self-assessment. Don't be blinded by pride. Know your weaknesses as clearly as your strengths. 2. Gather market intelligence constantly. Markets change rapidly. Don't assume today's advantage will last. 3. Look for asymmetries. Where are you strong and competitors weak? Where are they strong and you weak? Strategy is about using asymmetries to your advantage. 4. Avoid overconfidence, Sun Tzu warned that arrogance leads to defeat. Never assume victory is guaranteed. 5. Prepare for change. Knowledge is not static. What you know today may be outdated tomorrow. Keep learning. Keep adapting. Sun Tzu's words ring true across millennia. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. In business, this is the essence of strategy. It is not about fighting harder, louder, or cheaper. It is about seeing clearly your strengths, your limits, your rivals, and the shifting terrain of the market. Victory belongs to those who are honest with themselves and vigilant about the world around them. Defeat awaits those who are blind to both. As you navigate your business journey, remember, knowledge is the ultimate weapon. Self-knowledge keeps you grounded, market knowledge keeps you prepared, and together they make you unstoppable. Thank you for joining me on The Strategic Living. For more insights from the art of war applied to modern life, subscribe and stay tuned. And remember, every great victory begins with knowledge.